Hi, in today's video we're going to talk about how we can make any camera look cinematic, be it a beginner camera, an advanced camera, or even your smartphone. Now this question has two parts, how to make your A-roll more cinematic and how to make your B-roll more cinematic. And in today's video we're just going to focus on how to make your A-rolls, your informational videos look more delicious. Now before we start talking about camera settings, if you're shooting with a smartphone, you might not have all these different controls in your native camera app. इसके लिए I suggest you download the Blackmagic Camera app. It will give you full control over all of these things like shutter speed and other things that I'm going to talk about. So once you have installed Blackmagic Camera on your phone, let's get to the settings that we need to change. Firstly, whenever we are going with a talking head shot, we generally want some separation between us and the background. So the first thing that we have to do is to reduce the f-stop value to the lowest value possible. अगर तुम फोन में शूट कर रहे हो, इसका एक कैप है, और अगर तुम कैमरा में शूट कर रहे हो, it is basically dependent on the lens that you're using. इससे क्या होगा, there will be a lot more background blur and your subject will be differentiated from the background quite a lot. The next thing we're going to do is to set our recording to 24 FPS. Why? Because all the cinema that you see on the world is recorded at 24 FPS or at least played in 24 FPS. So that is what we look at as cinematics. And we are also going to set our shutter speed to 1/50 or 1/60 because with 24 FPS these are the values that give the best motion blur, which is not present right now. You can see my hand all throughout the way when it's moving, but if I set my value to 1/50 or 1/60, you will see what happens. I have also reduced my f-stop value to the lowest you could get. Now you see this scene is wholly lit up, but you will also see there is a motion blur when anything is moving inside the frame, and that is more cinematic. Now to fix the whole bright exposure, take your ISO as low as you can while maintaining the proper brightness that you want in your video. Currently this ISO is set at 40,000. Now what higher ISO does is all the darker parts they will get a lot of greens in them if we use a very high ISO. So I'm going to take it down to somewhere around 3200. Okay, so now we are done with the camera settings. Now let's move on to lighting. If there is one thing that can make and break your video, it is lighting. If you are not good at lighting, you can be shooting with a 2 lakh ka camera and still look like shit. If you are good at lighting, you could be shooting with a 10,000 ka phone and still look cinematic. Wow, it started raining. But the point is that most of you guys watching, I assume that you are beginners or intermediates. So if you are starting out, you probably don't have any light or you have only one light at your disposal. So I have made different sections for 0 light, 1 light, 2 lights and 3 lights, and you can navigate to all of the sections in the progress bar somewhere. So in this segment of how to look cinematic with whatever lights you have, let's start off with 0 lights. That is only the window light at our disposal. Now ये जो भी light आ रहा है, अभी बारिश चालू हुई है तो it's gotten a little bit more gloomy. What you need to do if you have window light is to not face it directly, is to face it from a 45-degree angle. What I'm talking about is, so you see now I am not exactly facing the window. The window is around 30 to 45-degree angles over here. There is a lot more shadow, a lot more depth in my face, and it's not looking all flat. And that is the first tip, is that to use Rembrandt lighting. What is Rembrandt lighting? I'm going to explain it in a whole other video, but you basically have to look for your key light so it creates a triangle of light on your further cheek. And once you have achieved that, that is probably the most optimum way in general. Obviously different videos ke liye different lighting setups are good, but in general this is a very good setup when you are starting out. Okay, now let's move on if you have one artificial light available. Okay, so now we're talking about how we can use one artificial light to look cinematic. Remember, one artificial light matlab you have 2 lights. One is the window light, which is right over here. I am keeping a wider frame so you can see all the lights that are going on. I have my softbox studio light over here. You can use any ring light or any type of soft light. And I have placed this light also at the Rembrandt lighting angle. And your only artificial light working as the key light, which is also at the Rembrandt triangle, you would see I can use the other light that is coming from the window as a rim light. All this bluish light that you see, all these lights you see here, that is called rim light. Generally, if you have 2 lights, these are the 2 lights that you should use, the key light and the rim light. Or you can use a fill light as well, I'll explain later. But with that, let's move on to if you have 2 artificial lights. Well, as you can see, I have a ring light over here. I'm just going to place it Now this side has a lot of shadows. I am getting the border of my face, border of my hair and border of my t-shirt over here from that window light, which is doing a good job. But this side you might think this is still a little too dark. We can turn on another light to sort of fill it up. But again, if you see both of the lights are of equal intensity, it sort of makes everything really flat again. So we don't want this light to be very intense. Like, the problem is this is the lowest brightness this light can go, so we can do two things. Either we can make this light lot more brighter and decrease the ISO even more, or we can make this light bounce off a wall and fall onto our face. I will show you the second one, which is easier to do. I will make it bounce off on a white wall and then fall on my face. Then you see the shadows are a little bit more intact, but this side is not completely dark. I'll show you. This is without the fill light and this is with the fill light. अब तुम्हें कितना ज़्यादा shadow चाहिए उसको तुम adjust कर सकते हो by increasing and decreasing the brightness of this light. अब let's talk about if you have 3 disposable lights. If the light is artificial and portable, you can place it somewhere in the background. For this particular example, I have another light which is behind my monitor, and it will add that particular glow behind me. Now if the third light that we're using is an RGB light, you can put it any color that you want, just don't make it very close to your skin tone. Now of course other fundamentals of filmmaking like cinematography, composition, all these things can be incorporated into a talking head A-roll shot, but generally just place your subject in the dead center of the frame. Ab different scenarios mein we might want to place our subject to the left or to the right or facing in a particular direction. All those things come into composition. If you want me to make a video on how to make better compositions for your A-rolls, or do you want me to make a video about how to make your B-rolls more cinematic, let me know in the comments below. Or any other videos that you think I can teach you, let me know in the comments below. I will make a video of it. And if you want to learn more about filmmaking, script writing, storytelling, video editing, color grading, sound design, or anything related to content creation and filmmaking, you can ask me in the comments below. I will make a video about it. You see, this channel is very special to me because I started content creation 6-7 years back, and I learned all of these things from different videos on YouTube and through trial and error. बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें हैं जो मुझे I could have learned a lot faster if there was a channel like this available. So I want to make this channel the exact channel I wish I would have had, so that you guys, the new budding content creators, can learn things very easily and तुम लोग वो same struggles, same गलतियाँ ना करनी पड़े जो मैंने की हैं. I want to give the basics of everything to you for absolutely free. तुम सारी चीज़ें यहाँ पे इस channel पे सीख सकते हो. And again, whatever you want to learn, just leave a comment down below and I will see you in the next video.